Very good evening. Hope everybody is doing well today. It is the 11th of January, approaching the middle portion of the month. And of course, we have been looking at the temperatures across the northern hemisphere in recent times and the kind of movement of air within the Arctic region as well. Kind of seems to be that we've been seeing, the exceptional cold over Siberia kind of crossing over the top with a kind of cross-polar flow. You can see here, this is actually the initial chart for today. This is the jet stream chart of the GFS. You can see here we've got kind of cross-polar connection here between Asia and North America. And of course, we're seeing these waves of Arctic air dropping down into the lower 48. We didn't see that during the month of December. We're seeing that now. We also have to take into consideration the progressiveness of the winter as well. Once you get into the second half of winter, the atmosphere is different. The oceans are cooler as well, and you start to see that feedback, that response. Things like the North Atlantic Oscillation and the Arctic Oscillation become, to an extent, a different beast as we go through the second half of the winter season, for the very reasons I've just alluded to. The NAO has actually more significance during the second half of the winter as well. And what I'm seeing here is the cold, of course, kind of driving over top of the pole. We're seeing the coldest air of the winter so far in parts of Canada. In response to that cross-polar flow, we're also seeing more southward progression of the cold into the mid-latitude region over North America, and that changes the dynamics of the jet stream as well. And what I do notice here is that we're starting to see a more amplified, more buckled, more wavy jet stream over the northern hemisphere, with the interaction of cold digging further south over the mid latitudes here. So, as I've said time and time again recently, all is not lost. Despite the strong polar vortex, despite the fact that we've got the strong polar vortex and even still a westerly jet stream, what we're seeing is we're starting to see the atmosphere kind of respond slightly different to what it has so far. Now, the Mount-Julian Oscillation had been stuck in phases 7, went towards 8. I believe it kind of almost back into phase 7, even phase 6. But as that Mount-Julian Oscillation within the tropics starts to progress, we start to see a change of shape in the upper air pattern over the mid-latitudes and the high latitudes as well. There is a lot of blocking actually showing up in the models, including the North Atlantic and Greenland, as well as the Arctic, and this is all very interesting stuff. Of course, we've got the building of high pressure from the south into the British Isles now as we speak. That will continue to progress northwards over the next few days here. But remember what I said, we have got, of course, the first of a few punches of polar air digging and diving into the southeastern portion or the northeastern portion of the United States, and that causes the jet to get forced southwards. Now, as that jet stream gets forced southwards, of course, it comes up over the North Atlantic, and as it comes up over the North Atlantic, there is optimistic thinking that we will start to see the colder air dropping initially over Europe. But as we see these kind of wave break scenarios here where the cold air comes southwards over the eastern portion of North America, the area of high pressure that is now building over the UK, in a sense, the models are starting to see that kind of retrogression westwards here to kind of fill the void, fill the gap in the atmosphere. And of course, if we can get that high over the UK westwards, then that allows colder air from the north to come southwards here. Like I say, I'm not necessarily expecting anything long lived and stuck, but that eastward progression of the wave break, so to speak, allows these cold shots that initially start over Europe to kind of back westwards here. So you can see here as we play through the loop here, watch the jet stream, how it starts to become more and more amplified. We're seeing a split in the jet west of North America, and then eventually what we do is we start to see a split over the Atlantic as well. One branch goes southwards here, and the other branch, look at this here, goes way up into Greenland, into the Arctic region here. Like I say, it initially misses the British Isles, but as we press through the loop, notice here it maintains that amplification here, and then eventually what happens is these cold shots that come southwards into Europe eventually start to kind of push towards the UK, and that is what I'm hoping for at the moment. Again, it's all probabilistic. I'll get that, but there is certainly evidence here to back up that idea that I've got, that we're going to start to see these shots of colder air coming down from the north here. So you can just see how wavy, how in a sense how messed up the jet stream becomes, that you don't have that straight west to east zonal flow. If it is the case, it would be pretty much game over, I think. But I'm certainly liking what I'm seeing with regards to where we're going here. 850 millibar temperature chart here. This actually, by the way, is Wednesday, the 19th of January at 12 UTC. Certainly would not be interesting to see if we were able to get this. Now that, of course, is possibly an outlier in terms of the potential for some sort of a easterly developing here, but we'll wait and see what happens. Let's go back to the current scenario here, because it's interesting to see how this setup kind of develops here over the next week or so. So this is where we stand at the moment here. High pressure kind of starts to build into the British Isles here, not particularly cold air. Notice here that we've got a shot of Arctic air coming down into Eastern Europe. We've also got very cold air over eastern portions of North America, and for the northeastern United States, so say DC, New York City, Philadelphia, up into Boston as well. These cold shots do not hold. It kind of punches and then comes out, get milder surge coming in from the southeast, and then we get another punch of Arctic air coming down into the pattern here. So it's this kind of hit of cold air rather than being one sustained Arctic outbreak over the eastern portion of the country. What that does is, as you're punching these Arctic air masses into the east, you're then forcing the jet to come south, go north over the North Atlantic, and you get the overall idea. It misses the UK initially, but the modelling is seeing that westward progression of the high, like I say, currently over the UK. As that starts to back westwards, you're allowing the increased chance, at least, of colder air coming down. So as we press through the loop here, this is of course GFS 850 millibar temperatures here. You see the overall picture here. What you do is you start to see the continuation of high pressure developing to the west. Further west that the high develops, the greater chance you've got of that cold air coming southwards here with the trough. So here's shot number one coming down here. That certainly would be an impressive shot of cold air. Of course, it was on the models a couple of days ago. It's still on the models. That is what we're wanting to see here. Notice the surge of warmer air getting pushed up towards Greenland here. That comes down here. Very significant shot of Arctic air here. And then as you notice, the high and the warm air that builds northwards over the North Atlantic towards Greenland actually kind of topples up over the top, forces the bitterly cold pool over Europe to then spread westwards into the UK here. This would certainly be a fantastic scenario, even if it only lasts 4 or 5 days. Certainly this would be cold, it would be snowy, and we would be in business here as we go forward here. Then we've got that that kind of Arctic air kind of gets washed out, so to speak, in the models here. This was Friday the 21st of January here, as you can see. But then we've got room for more pulses of Arctic air coming from north to south over the UK and over Europe here, with that high pressure always kind of staying over the North Atlantic here. So yeah, I certainly like what I'm seeing here. This is off the GFS Ensemble. This is, of course, the Northern Hemisphere view. This is what's going to take place over the next several days here. Watch what happens here. We'll build a ridge of high pressure over the British Isles, as you can see here in the 500 millibar chart. And then as we go through the period, watch how we've got high pressure developing off eastern North America. We've got the high over the UK starting to kind of drift northwards. The two combine, and of course you're then allowing the trough to come in further westwards here. And as we continue to press through the loop here, you notice here the persistency in high pressure, the positive, over the North Atlantic here. And of course, we're also seeing is high pressure over Western North America, extending into Alaska. We've got another one over Eastern Asia. So we've got three areas of high pressure that the modelling is indicating at least of a merging of these areas of high pressure here. So certainly I like what I'm saying. But notice here the persistency in the positive over the North Atlantic. That always suggests at least that we're not going to get this clear-cut westerly flow. The jet is always kind of coming down from a more north to northwesterly angle here. That's always going to be a colder direction in which the air is coming from, as opposed to the southwest here. So you can see the dynamics in the atmosphere changing as the winter season progresses. So certainly worth keeping a close eye on, at least as we go further down the road here. So midwinter period coming up here, and certainly is all to play for when it comes to winter weather. Of course, if you like the video, please like and share the video, as well as subscribe. Please, of course, hit the bell button, and you can get notified of every new video as it is released here on YouTube. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Bye for now.